Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Toonkind at 12 FPS. Today we are playing an impromptu FPS called Occupied Minds. Um, and today it is me, Oatmeal, playing the professor, and
Hi, I'm Avi. Today I'll be playing Arata Satomi. Yeah.
mm, nice. Um, and this we'll probably have spoilers for a few of maybe possibly our characters' recent games, but I mean that's how FPSs be. Um uh without further ado, uh, um the let's see. It's about uh I think it's probably like um Wednesday evening. The professor shows up at the last one in. Uh, um, and uh, you want this to be like um, on like my brain keeps saying the word store hours or not store hours. It's not a store, it's a restaurant. It's an inn. That's what it is.
It's an in.
Um, yeah. Do you want it to be open or like after closing time? Because I don't
I'm
have a
good.
preference.
I'm good either way. I can give you something for either. Um,
Okay. And so I think the professor would wait until after closing time to visit.
Alright. Uh, yeah, you visit during, after hours, and oddly enough, Arata is not at the, restaurant, area. Instead, there's a little UPA in, Tune, and she looks UPA in Tune in the design of like a kind of like a demon, kind of like a tiefling, something along those lines.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
when she sees you there, she's like, "Oh, hang on, aren't you one of the kids' friends?"
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sorry, today's his day off. He actually went up to the roof if you're looking for him.
Oh, the roof. How would I get up there?
If you just go upstairs, there's like a little access right beyond the rooms.
Uh, okay, thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
And he'll go up there.
Yeah, and this is evening. The sun is probably setting by now. Um, the seasons are changing, so the day is starting to get a little bit longer. Um, and sure enough, you do see Arata. He is sitting on the roof, and there's like a little bit of a sort of a spread, I would call it. He's got like a little like radio that's playing soft tunes. There's a
Mm-hmm.
blanket where like Genie is like curled up currently. Arata himself is sitting uh not directly at the edge, but near the edge of the roof, and he's just kind of like watching the horizon as the sun sets.
Hmm. Um, I think the professor would just sort of tap on the roof lightly to try not to startle him, and just, hey, Arata?
And he looks up at you and he's like, "Oh, hey, professor, sorry."
That's all right. May I join you up here?
Yeah, come on. Uh, the view
Hmm.
over here is not. Well, there are like better roofs out here in Toontown, but I don't think it's that bad.
Yeah, and he'll join him on the roof near the edge. Do you want to should we I feel like we should roll insight on each other.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Here we go.
hmm
Yeah, that's what I thought you'd say. Alright, I got 15.
Hmm. Let's see. Modifier. Ugh, Prof only got a 10.
Alright.
Granted, that's with disadvantage for reasons.
Oh goodness. Is it the
Like,
exhaustion?
maybe.
Shakes you. Shakes Professor.
uh,
I mean, with the 10, you get the vibe of like someone that's just like trying to like chill out, kind of relax for a little
mhm.
bit.
Yeah, yeah, that's good. Um, yeah, you with a 15, uh, the professor, um, uh, he, came up here and has been moving about with like an uncharacteristic amount of like carefulness. And, he, uh, he seems to be, his clothes are mended and he doesn't have any visible injuries, but uh he still seems worn and definitely tired. Um um and there's sort of a
Okay.
somber uh uh sort of the vestiges of a sort of sad air about him.
I think Arata probably notices this and kind of just like takes a deep breath and the way he's sitting, um, he pulls his knees up and just kind of like rests his arms on top of them. And he
Mhm.
looks to you, Professor, and he goes, "Okay, loaded question.
Hmm.
You doing all right?"
Hmm. That's a good question. I don't know. I think I will be eventually.
Yeah, eventually. Um,
Hmm.
Not sure if it's worth much, but you see him kind of like move. I forgot to mention his bag. He does have his bag with him.
hmm
And he reaches into it, and it's a he pulls out um well, it looks like a vest very similar to the one you had.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And he was like, I felt bad about ruining the one you had. So,
His eyes light up and he chuckles a little bit and just sort of shakes his head like you didn't have to do that.
well, I didn't have to, but I wanted to. Uh,
Well, that's sweet of you. Thank you.
yeah, I mean, I wasn't sure. what size you are, so I kind of just had to like eyeball it. So
Oh, that's all right. If it's off, I can always uh modify it.
it kind of gives you like a laugh, and it just kind of turns back to looking over the city skyline.
Hmm. How have things been with Izumi?
Uh, he got pissed off that I disappeared for a week.
Right.
It's,
Yeah, I didn't realize that until about yesterday.
I mean, I'm alright. Zumi got over it mostly,
Mm.
and he kind of just rubs a hand against his face. um, I mean, Zumi's a Zumi. He's he's gonna pretend he's gonna be fine for a while. I know he's not.
Hmm. Mm.
Just just a lot of weird stuff happening lately. That's all.
Weird stuff?
I mean,
What? I mean, are weird stuff or other weird stuff?
no, I mean like our weird stuff. I mean like it's.
Mm-hmm.
I mean like yeah, the stuff that like me and the spirit rogues get up to, and like Zumi by extension, they're pretty. They're not normal, but like coming back from the dead isn't. That's that's not. That shouldn't be possible, and I'm still a little weirded out by it. That's all.
Oh, yes. I I I was too. Um, it should be especially impossible. You are referring to, oh no, when you're talking about Izumi, of course.
Hmm?
You were talking about Izumi.
Yeah.
Right. He just like looks distracted and nods like right, yes.
Kind of turns back to look to you, and he kind of just. Did you think I was talking about something else?
Uh, for a second there, I thought you were you talked about coming back from the dead. Thought for a moment you meant thought for a moment you meant Epsilon. Not that he was back exactly.
No, no. I mean, that's that's ghosts. That's different. That's
It's not the same.
Zumi's like alive, which is I don't know. I think that makes it a little bit weirder.
It certainly is strange. He's that's not something that's not something that it's not something that your species does.
No. And then the more I think about it, the more crazier it gets because it's like there's no nice way to say it. Azumi was a fucking asshole, but like
Mm.
after what happened. It's like all I can remember was thinking that I wished things could have been better, like a second chance or something.
Hmm.
And now that's exactly what happened, and I'm just, I don't know.
Wondering why.
Yeah,
Hmm. I just hope nobody's playing games with you.
it's the
Yeah.
last thing I need.
Mhm. Hmm.
Kind of just there's a there's a moment where he kind of like looks away, and you notice that he's kind of like fidgeting with the fabric of his pants, like
Hmm.
something about what you said may have like poked at something, but he's not talking about it yet.
Hmm. The professor tilts his head at uh Azumi and just sort of
Azumi.
ah,
it's fine.
Arata.
It's fine. They
Um,
both start with A.
they do. Ah.
I've done that before too. Don't
At
worry.
Arata. And and just sort of raises his eyebrows a little bit. Something on your mind?
Mm. He kind of just pauses, and that like fidgeting turns into like a nervous like tapping of a rhythm against his knee. And after a moment, he kind of pauses and takes a deep breath, and he goes, "Did I? Hmm, did I ever tell you about the Holy Grail?"
I you hmm. You mentioned a few names offhand. I I I think that was one of them. I don't remember hearing the explanation for that one. No.
Mm-hmm. And that nervous tapping just continues. And he goes, "The Holy Grail was, I don't know, some sort of weird ploy by the quarry. Some sort of
It was a weird what?
ploy. It
Ah,
was a weird ploy by the quarry. They were trying to
mm,
like, you know what I said about like the collective unconscious? They were trying to like find
mm.
a way to manipulate that, but I think it
Oh.
just backfired on
Huh.
them. And then the Holy Grail was a result. Got
Mm,
so powerful they couldn't keep it under control and whatnot. And then
mm,
so powerful it got, you know, close to being a god, I guess.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But
Is that the one you took out?
one of them, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's it's a long story, so just bear with me. I've never really like
Mm-hmm.
never really talked about this to anyone, so I'm like trying to figure out how. Let's
It's
see.
all right. Take your time.
Let's see. From the beginning. Holy Grail. Well, it became sentient. Corey couldn't. Corey couldn't control it, so I think they either got attacked or they
Mm,
just abandoned the whole thing because I never ran into them during that whole thing.
mm,
Holy Grail attacked the Velour room.
mm.
I don't know what happened to Jiro during them, but I do know that it pretended to be Jiro. For an
Oh,
entire year, I thought that was the real master of the Velour room, and it's just some fucking.
oh dear. Oh my, year. That's quite the feat.
I didn't know any better until until we found it, because they both
Mm.
had the same fucking voice, and I don't know
Uh,
why. I don't know why I didn't pick up on it sooner, because like there were so many things that were just red flags, but hindsight, it's always 2020.
mhm,
But it took over the Velour room um, in a last ditch effort. Jiro brought Genie into existence, and
mm,
if you look over to Genie, he's still kind of like asleep. His ear twitches a little.
mhm.
Um, and then, oh, Lady Anastasia, that thing tore her into two,
Oh,
and then it played a game and
huh.
pitted two wild cards against each other. That game was rigged from the start. Even if we had one, well, we wouldn't win.
You and whom else?
The Spirit Rogues. Oh, you mean the other?
The opposite side. Two
No,
wild cards. You and who else?
that was that was Azumi.
Of course.
I I haven't gotten around to telling him about it because I know he won't react well.
Does does he not remember it?
neither of us neither of us met the Holy Grail, and I don't think I was directly mentored. Azumi, he kind of grimaces and he goes, Azumi had no one.
What do you mean you haven't told him about it?
I mean, he kind of.
Doesn't he remember?
No, we. Mm, he looks a little bit uncomfortable, brings one hand to rub at his arms, and he goes, he died before we ever found out about the Holy Grail. That's the thing. And
Oh,
that was the thing. The entire game, nobody ever knew. I Again, hindsight, it was always so weird because that thing called itself a god of control, and it was easy to tell because sometimes the way people acted, they were just it was just too much, you know? Like
Hmm.
too too much on Azumi's side or too much on the side of the spirit rogues, and we all picked up on that, like it was weird, but like we couldn't figure out why. And like when we changed Endo's heart, nobody seemed to react, which was also weird. And I and now we know it's because that thing was setting us up, and I'm just glad it's gone.
Yes. Hmm. The professor squints. You said something about. Sammy asked about dying, and you said something, and it sounded like you were answering from experience.
Oh, okay. That was a quick history roll to see if he remembered saying that.
Hmm. No, 19, yeah.
Yeah, and you see him kind of like flinch,
Hmm.
and he goes quiet. And it's not like the usual kind of quiet where it's like, oh, he's a little bit overwhelmed. It's more like, oh, this is a pretty sensitive topic.
I know you faked your death once, but this sounded different from that.
I mean, I I don't know if I'd call it dying because I think it was worse.
Really? He's trying not to look too curious, but he is curious.
Oh my gosh. And he turns his head, not so that he's looking at you, but like more like he's looking off to the horizon again.
Mm.
And he goes, I mean, from what you said, you guys, your race seems pretty comfortable with the dying. I guess that's a awful way of wording it. I'm sorry.
Uh, we have. Oh, I really need to explain it to you at some point. But but no, we're not particularly um bothered by the concept, I suppose you could say.
Um, he takes a deep breath and it's shaky. Like he knows that you're not going to like what he's gonna say next,
Mhm.
and he goes, "Do you know what it's like to to do you know what it's like to completely fade away from existence?"
Um, the, the professor, um, uh, he, uh, he, takes a hand and, runs it over his face, uh, and through his hair, and, just sort of looks off in the distance and, um, grimaces and says, "Not firsthand?"
Mm, that that thing, the Yaldabaoth or the Holy Grail, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Um, Part of its plan was trying to cross the material world with the material plane with the collective unconscious, and around that time people in Yeda were starting to think that the spirit rogues didn't exist in the first place, and a reality shaped by the collective unconscious and what the masses think.
Yes, they didn't believe they existed, and so they simply didn't. Um, can the professor offer Arata a hug?
I mean, he's not gonna resist.
Okay, he's gonna give him a hug.
How
Just kind of scoot over next to him and wrap his arms around from behind and the side.
Yeah, you pull him into a hug, and he kind of, there is no resistance. He just
Hmm.
leans like right into it, and his voice shakes as he continues, and he says, "Sorry, I'm getting emotional too."
Aw,
uh,
it's okay.
he says, "I saw them. I saw them disappear right in front of me. My best friends. And I couldn't do anything to stop it. And it hurt like hell. I thought we lost."
It is worse than death. I'm just glad you're all back. I'm glad you're still here.
Give me a second.
Hmm.
Oof. Okay.
What was that?
That was a wisdom check. Um,
Ugh.
uh, you say that you say that you're glad that Arata's still here, and it's very it's very light at first. Um, you start to notice that he's trembling, and
hmm
it's not that hard to make the connection that he's probably crying, and he kind
hmm
of just wraps his own arms um, around you, and
hmm
there might be a bit of clinginess.
hmm Yeah, yeah. The professor is just um just 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 holding him and and patting his back.
Nah, man. And he takes a deep breath, and he kind of just brings one hand to like wipe at his eyes, and he's just sorry, I didn't.
No, no, don't apologize.
I never I never really told anybody that either.
You needed to talk about it. I'm glad you could. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Of course. Hmm.
He kind of he's not like pulling out of the hug completely, but he's still like kind of if you're still like holding on to him,
hmm
he's leaned a bit slightly,
hmm
and you see him like kind of look down at his hands, or like at one hand at least. Like
hmm
he kind of like splays his fingers out and then like clenches his fist. He's just like watching that for a moment.
He's what for a moment? Sorry, you cut out.
He's watching that for a moment. Sorry.
Hmm Yeah. Yeah. No, he lets him move around and stuff.
But I'm here now.
Yes. Yes.
Nowhere to
You're all
go.
here.
Nowhere to go but forward.
Hmm Do you want to roll perception or insight or something?
Yes, they're both the same modifier, so I'll just. Ooh, gosh. Okay.
Whoa, holy crap.
Modified 23.
Wow, what the heck am I gonna do with that? Okay.
True to form, Arata makes a
Um,
good roll.
um, Uh, if you um when you started to uh pull pull back from the hug a little bit, just to compose yourself, um the the professor's voice was pretty steady, and uh his body language hadn't given anything away, but when you look up, um there uh there are tears in his eyes, and he just sort of um nonchalantly um wipes them away, and and just keeps um looking at you, and just being with you there. But like something, um so there's there's a sadness and a familiarity, and um some sort of, I don't know. It's like he's both like remembering something, and like accepting something else. And I'm not sure how else to explain it, but yeah.
Uh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make you. I didn't mean to make you. I didn't mean to
Hmm?
dig up any old memories.
No, 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 no. No, no, no.
Are you all right? Or is at a risk of repeating myself? Are you gonna be okay?
I will be. I'm remembering other people I did this sort of thing with.
Like like um like traveling or
Traveling and before traveling.
oh I hmm. Are you still like? Do you still have like one arm wrapped around Arata?
I think probably he'd have one like on his shoulder at least.
All right, and he kind of in that case he kind of just like he had leaned out a little bit, and then he now he kind of like leans in, but it's with the express purpose to like gently like bump his shoulder against you, and he goes, "Do you need to talk?
Do I?
Do sorry, did my internet cut out again?
A little bit.
Ah, god damn it. He leans, he bumps his shoulder against you and he
Hmm.
goes, do you need to talk?
Oh, I went over a lot of it with the others. It's been sorted for the time being, but it's just a lot to think about people who disappeared in a similar way and don't make it back.
Oh,
And I'm very glad to have you here.
he gives you a smile,
Mhm.
and he goes, "I'm glad you're here too."
Mm. Mm.
And he shoot, I had something and I forgot it. What was it? Ah. He kind of pauses for a bit, and he goes, when we were in that demi plane,
Mm.
Epsilon. I mean, you don't have to say anything if you don't want to talk about it, but Epsilon said something about your family.
Right, right. I, yes, I had forgotten for a long time, was made to forget. But um, after after you and Sammy and Scribbles left, and uh, Seeker and Ember came to check on me, and happened to bring somebody else off the street with them, quite by accident.
He kind of like tilts his head, like, okay.
Uh, I was in a bit of a state. Um, my, uh, I was stuck in my own head trying to rearrange my the memories that Epsilon had dug up and not being able to put them in the right places, and they helped me sort them out, and that was I I finally was able to put together what happened to my family, and it was worse than I'd hoped. But at least I have the truth now.
He kind of shifts. Um, you like had already moved to like get closer to him to
Mm,
like hug him,
mhm.
and he doesn't go for a full hug yet, but he does like wrap one arm around your shoulders, and just for like that extra bit of comfort, and he says, "Well, I'm I'm glad you got that sorted out, but I'm sorry to hear that it wasn't what you were hoping for."
Oh, well, thank you. It is what it is. I'd 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 mourned them long ago.
Opens his mouth to say something, and then closes it before he decides to say something else. And he goes, "Hey, Professor, you know that we have your back, right? I mean, after after what happened, I don't think you're getting rid of us that easily." So like if you ever need anything, like even if it's just a shoulder to lean on, you've got us.
He uh he starts to say something and like nod like, yeah, I know, but then he stops himself and he really kind of stops to think about it and and take that in and and he, he um uh he looks directly at Arata and nods slowly. Like he was about to just agree because that's what you do when someone says something like that, but he really he's taking it to hearts.
And the smile on his face, there it's definitely edged with a certain kind of softness. Do you want to roll insight? Just
Yes.
for a little something. You don't have to roll high.
Ooh, all right. 17.
17. All right. Um. Hmm. it's the way he says it and the way he's smiling and looking at you. It's said with like that kind of conviction, like, yeah, this may be something that like people say like all the time, maybe, but it's said with like a sort of purpose to like he wants you to know that you can go to any of them, and it's it's the softness of it's the softness of a person who, when he cares with all his heart.
Mm.
And
Oh.
then and then he kind of like gives you a soft chuckle as his smile turns a little bit more mischievous, and he goes, "We're your friends. That means we get to be a thorn in your side for a little while longer." And he kind of leans back to give you like a playful uh a bump against your arm with his fist.
Uh, yeah, he just smiles and shakes his head. Mm.
I think hmm, I think he kind of just there's probably like a pause, like a lull in the conversation, um
Hmm.
as he kind of like glances back to the horizon. It's getting later by now. It's probably like fully set.
Hmm.
Um, and like upon seeing the sky darken, Arata kind of just pulls back and just leans backwards until he's laying on the roof of the last one in and just kind of staring up at the sky.
Hmm. Um, the the professor just sort of like watches for a minute, and then he also stretches out and um, lays down um, uh, and puts his hat over his face, like he's gonna take a nap.
I mean, Arata just kind of like notices and then like turns his head and he's like, "Are you just gonna sleep right here?"
I could. It's very nice.
And he cackles, and and then like oh, and he kind of like turns again to look at you. He's still laying down. You probably can't see
Hmm.
him because you have your hat over your eyes. Uh,
Uh-huh.
but he's got this like tone in his voice, like he just like
Hmm.
remembered something that he thinks you'd find interesting.
Hmm.
and and he goes, so you remember how I was talking to you about how when distortions in the collective unconscious get like so personal that it can like literally affect, like make their own like palaces and stuff.
Hmm.
Did
Yes.
did okay. You're not gonna believe me, but one of the palaces. Oh, what was it? It was the in reality, in the material plane. It was supposed to be the company building for this big. It was a company that owns like a fast food chain over in Yedo, but
Hmm.
in the Paraverse, it took the shape of, what did they call it? A spaceport.
A spaceport?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah. No, it wasn't.
The fast food chain took the shape of a spaceport. I mean, I can't say I'm surprised. I mean, there certainly are a lot of chains at spaceports, but huh.
I don't know. Well, like the biggest chain the biggest chain the company owns. They call it Galaxy Burger.
The what?
They call it Galaxy Burger.
Oh, good grief.
And he cackles, and he goes, "Yeah, no, I don't know. It was something, I guess, but like, it wasn't real. It's it's
Uh-huh.
it's never real in the Paraverse, but like, we did get a
Hmm.
pretty cool view of. I think I want to say it was Story, but like just seeing Story.
Oh,
Yeah, and I'm gonna be
oh.
honest. I don't have much else for you, but if this is a nice place to wrap it up, I think Arata's just gonna ramble your ear off about this little
Uh,
adventure.
yeah. Yeah, that's a nice place to end it. Aw, that's perfect. Ah, this was nice. Oh, thank you for playing with me.
Oh, thank you, thank you as well, and thank you.
Even though this was really, really not rushed, impromptu, just, uh, just, yeah.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed it, and also
Mm.
thank you to all of our listeners, both now listening live and in the future, whoever's listening to the recording. Um,
Mhm.
we bid you all a good time zone.
Mhm.
Bye.
Bye.